I'm Craig Eason at Lloyd's List, and we're continuing our look at piracy. With me is Efthimios Mitropoulos from the International Maritime Organisation. Mr. Mitropoulos, you've mentioned previously the four worst-case scenarios that you see materialising, particularly off the Somali coastline.
The four worst-case scenarios are those that I have outlined in a communication with the UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, having already explained to him how deeply concerned we are about seafarers who are captured by pirates every now and then. Having placed my first emphasis and concern on the seafarers, then I said that there are four scenarios that might prove to be a nightmare in case they occurred. The first was in the case of a cruise ship, and we know how many passengers such ships may accommodate nowadays. If a cruise ship with thousands of passengers on board falls in the hands of pirates, no matter how remote this may be, but however this may be a probability. The second nightmare scenario would be if a fully laden VLCC or a ULCC, whilst in the hands of pirates, suffers an accident, either in a collision with another ship or going aground, and then oil spills in the water and we have a major ecological catastrophe. The third would be in case seafarers, scared by what is happening in the piracy-infested area of Somalia, refuse to sail on ships destined to pass through such areas. And the fourth is the major impact it may have on the economy, trade, and all the associated industries, in case ships have to avoid sailing through the Gulf of Aden, the Red Sea and the Suez Canal, but divert to sail through via the Cape of Good Hope in order to avoid sailing in areas that we know pirates operate.
You've put the focus for this year for the IMO on piracy at sea, and your phrase is that the IMO should be orchestrating the response. But clearly, and we've heard from many commentators, the problem manifests itself from the shore. This must limit what the IMO itself can do.
You're right, but the fact that we are orchestrating the response should not take away the fact that the issue is, as far as IMO is concerned and the shipping industry is concerned, is centered in areas off the coast of Somalia, in the Gulf of Aden, in the Arabian Sea, and in the wider expanse of the Indian Ocean. However, we should not be over-optimistic that a solution to the problem can be found whilst there is political instability ashore. That's why we hope and expect that through the UN Security Council a solution will be found such that a strong government is established in Mogadishu to exercise of power and authority all over the territory of Somalia, which eventually will lead to the establishment of a coast guard or a navy, which by patrolling and exercising control over the extensive coastline of Somalia will prevent these people exploiting today's political instability to take the ships they hijack wherever they want, keep them there while negotiations are ongoing, and eventually, once the ransom money is paid, releasing ships and seafarers.
You've indicated this yourself, that there needs to be a robust legal response to the issue of piracy at sea, because we see it not just manifesting itself now in Somalia. There are copycats in Nigeria. There is historically issues elsewhere in the world. Do you see this happening? Do you see there becoming a strong enough response internationally for this issue?
The will to provide a convincing answer to the problem is there. Only that I would be happy to see a stronger political will from governments that have the potential to make an interest. A will which will be translated in their making resources available commensurate with the magnitude of the problem. Of course, we should differentiate between piracy of Somalia and piracy as it manifests itself in other parts of the world, in particular in the Gulf of Guinea, where what pirates do is following the traditional pattern of accessing ships, finding their way to the bridge, forcing the master to open the safe. They get whatever cash is there and any other valuables, and they disappear. That's quite different from what is happening of Somalia. There is a need for governments, in particular in the region around Somalia, to put in place or strengthen, if they do have, legislation such that the crime of piracy is attended as it deserves to be attended, that apprehended pirates are brought to justice, are tried, and they found guilty, they are imprisoned. And also that we keep trace of the ransom money, and as I said, when I referred to 3 distinct horizons over which we should concentrate our efforts, in the medium term would be to undermine the gangs which mastermind pirate attacks, and make sure that they are neutralized, and therefore the crime is in the first place reduced, and eventually and hopefully one day eradicated.
We're talking here about the ability to trace the money. I've seen this proposed from other bodies as well, the ability to take a more robust legal approach to finding where the money comes from. Are we now stepping beyond what the IMO, though, can do?
No, this is not an area in which IMO has competence and a say. I mentioned it not as a manifestation of areas within IMO's competence, but as an area which we should not forget, but which we should promote and act upon on the basis of resolutions of the UN Security Council and other more competent organizations.
Can I draw you to the Djibouti Code of Conduct? That seems to have got 18 signatories now, I believe, so it seems to be well accepted around the coastline. Is this a robust enough response at the moment?
It is one of the responses. The Djibouti Code of Conduct has proved its good value, its worth, not only by the fact that 18 countries from the region, and I believe all of them have now become signatory to the Code of Conduct, which aims at implementing a number of measures to eradicate piracy in the region. And it is very good. IMO is making progress in implementing the objectives of the code. The 3 information sharing centers in Yemen, in Sana'a, in Dar es Salaam, in Tanzania, and in Mombasa in Kenya are up and running. Soon we'll lay the foundation stone for a training center in Djibouti, which we hope that, among others, there will be Somali nationals to train in preventing and combating piracy at sea. But these are the areas where the Djibouti Code of Conduct is focusing its efforts. I must also say that very good results so far can be seen in the context of the efforts of the contact group a working group which was established within the context of a UN Security Council resolution, and which by means of 4 working groups is promoting its objectives.
Mr. Mitropoulos, thank you very much for your time. This is Craig Eason at Lloyd's List.